Good morning, afternoon, evening, night time, dusk, dawn, whenever you're watching this. My name is Simon Kurt Unsworth, and I am the co-author, along with my son Benjamin, of the collection Uneasy Beginnings, which is 7 short stories, four of my early tales, and three of Ben's early, brand new tales, as well as hopefully being a collection of 7 Twilight Zone-esque short stories that you can enjoy. It's also a chance, if you were so inclined, which hopefully probably most of you won't be, to read some of my very early work, and then you could read my later stuff and see if I have improved at all. And in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, you could read some of Ben's, hopefully read some of Ben's sort of more current stuff and see how he's improved by reading these. But hopefully they're all just enjoyable short stories as well. I'm here in the north of England, doing this for you here now. This, just in case you were wondering, is Joe, the flatulent and lazy greyhound. He probably won't move during any of this. I'd be very surprised if he does. I'm going to read you a story called, the opening section of a story called Button. Button is one of the first stories that I sort of completed to a point where I thought it was actually readable by other people. It's a complete rip-off of Night Shift era Stephen King, and Night Shift era Stephen King is a huge influence on me. And it's a story that I still like a lot. I can see that it's very basic, and I can see that it's very... it's clearly early. The writing is not as good as I think I get better with time. I don't know, maybe you'll disagree, but there's still something about Button that I quite enjoy. So I'm going to read you just the opening section of it now. So this here is Button. When something fell past Bruno as he walked along the hallway, his reaction was as instinctive as it was quick. Twisting, he thrust his left hand out, palm up, and caught the object. Surprised, he looked at his hand, which had made an automatic fist about the falling something. Ordinarily, he was clumsy and uncoordinated and unable to catch even large, slow-moving things. And so this tiny moment felt like a victory, although over what he was not sure. Himself, perhaps. Keeping his fists clenched tight, Bruno tried to work out what the object was. It felt small and round, like a coin, but it did not have the cold detachment that he usually experienced when touching metal. It felt warm against his skin like sun-heated plastic. Odd, he thought, looking up the stairway at his landing where the object must have come from. In the shadowed emptiness, the pale streak of the banister glowed. Nothing else moved. Sighing, feeling his moment of triumph slip away, he opened his hand. It was a button. The button was old and scuffed and made of wood. There were 4 small holes set about its centre, and its edge was worn and, in one place, chipped. It was lying nestled at the base of the ball of his thumb, caught in the soft valley formed there between thumb and palm. The wooden surface was mottled yet shining, the smooth patina of age worn into it like a varnish. Grinning, Bruno thought, I caught a button, and then tried to curl his fingers and pinch it between his fingertips. It wouldn't move. Laughing at his own clumsiness, so soon returned, Bruno gave up trying to catch the button with the fingers of his left hand and instead used his right. It still would not move. Tugging at it did nothing more than send a curious shooting pain along his thumb and out across his palm. Growing irritated, Bruno shook his hand furiously, hoping to dislodge the button, but it remained stubbornly attached to his skin. He pulled at it again, getting his fingernails as far under the edge as its edge as he could, and this time the pain as he pulled made him cry out in surprise. It was like biting into tinfoil, a nervy, bloodless jolt that was over as quickly as it had begun. Annoyed now, Bruno shook his hand again, flailing it back and forth with growing anger. Someone must be playing a joke on me, he thought, one that's not very funny. They've coated the button with glue, and now it's stuck to me, and when I find it who it is, they'll be sorry. Only, even as he thought it, Bruno was unconvinced. He didn't have many friends, and certainly none who would go to the kind of trouble that this situation indicated. And if it wasn't a friend, then who was it? And why had they done this to him? Bruno took to trying to pry the button from his skin with a knife as his normal bedtime slipped past him. Taking the sharpest implement he possessed, he worked it under the edge of the button, wiggling it gently back and forth and using the motion to slip the blade further and further under. There came a point, however, past which the knife would not go. It came up against something hard, presumably where the adhesive had bonded most strongly with his skin, and where pressing was the most painful. It was like probing an open ulcer with his tongue, he thought, painful yet curiously addictive. Eventually, he forced himself to put the knife down. Sat at my kitchen table with a button stuck to me, he thought, his anger fading and becoming embarrassment. I think we'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it made you want to think that you need to go and buy Uneasy Beginnings, to find out exactly what happens to Bruno and his strange button. And I hope that if you do buy it and read that, you enjoy that and all the other stories in it. There's an awful lot of Black Shuck books coming out at around the same time. There was supposed to be this big launch with all of us. I'd urge you to buy all of them because they're all excellent, and you would have a fantastic collection of mini collections in your library. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and hopefully we'll do this in person at some point. Goodbye.